Welcome everyone, Beastie here once again. It's been a while. Another guide, this time for Protoss players. Like the title says, this will be a guide for cannon rushing, kind of like what Has did at WCS Valencia, which is something that most of you have probably seen. There was so many viewers, and yeah, let's just get into it. First things first, we're going to talk about the maps. So the cannon rushing that Has did was with Gateway into Forge. It's a reactionary cannon rush, which I'll talk a little bit about later. But what he does is basically cannon rush the hatchery if the Zerg goes hatch first, and then he follows it up with a proxy robo and just makes immortals, shield batteries, war prism, and just kind of goes on and kills the Zerg from there. First things first, though, we're going to talk about the maps. So you cannot cannon rush effectively on every map. You can cannon rush, but on some maps it just won't be as good. So for example, the maps that this cannon rush is good on is Darkness Sanctuary. Dreamcatcher is not good for it, and once we go into the maps, I'll explain a little bit more why. Catalyst is very good for it. Redshift, it's good for it. Lost and Found is probably the best map for cannon rushing, to be honest, not only against Zerg, but also against Protoss and Terran, if you're into that kind of thing. Acid Plant is very good for cannon rushing. And then 16-bit, in my opinion, is probably the worst map to cannon rush. Not only because there's an in-base natural that, the Zerg can just expand towards to if they take the third base as their natural. So even if you cannon rush one of them, you can just go to the other one, and you can really cannon rush that one too, because then the spawning pool will be out and just kind of be able to deflect your cannon rush. Now let's go into the maps. I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of like positions where you want to put your cannons and how you transition from then on out. Okay, so this is the map that I've said that the cannon rush builds are the best on. So we're gonna do a mini guide for the build order, and then I'm gonna show you guys how the cannon rush would look on the other maps as well. Now, what Has does is very reactive. So he plants the first pylon like normal on the natural. He goes gateway first, and then when his probe reaches the natural, he then decides to follow it up with a forge and just cannon rush from then on out. Now, what I started to do is pretty much the same thing. I'm gonna pause right here. You can't really cannon rush a Zerg that went pull first. Technically you can, but it's not really gonna work out. Everything that Zerg has, the units, it will be much faster, so it's just not worth it. So what you want to start is with a gateway. My suggestion is have a build ready that if it's not a hatch first build, you can kind of play on normally. But if it is hatch first, you can be very quick to punish it. So building the first gateway, what you can do is send a probe back, so you're ready to build a gas, and then you see the hatch first, assuming, then you can go back to the natural, build a forge, pretend you're scouting a little bit while your forge completes. You don't stay in this position, because the Zerg will get suspicious. The AI is going to pull first, yikes. You can also send this second probe to accompany this one, because sometimes you mess up and the probe just dies. Now, this is the first part of this cannon rush. Place the pylon here, only a couple of drones can attack it. The probe, you can see, cannot pass from here. And you wait. Now, if the Zerg pulls drones, you wall off like this. And then there's no more entering. You build your cannon right here. That's it. If the Zerg does not pull drones, you don't need to build those two pylons. Build two cannons. Start a gas in your main base. And then you want to build a pylon right here. Look at that AI, the Zergy boy. So I'm going to pause right here for a second to explain a little bit. So again, if the Zerg pulls drones with whatever cannon rush on whatever map you're doing it, you want to make sure to wall it off. And again, I will show examples of how you do it on each map. If the Zerg doesn't react and he still has a hatchery going, or he might cancel the hatchery at the last second, build two cannons like this, and that's it. You just kind of wait. The pylon on the high ground that I built is very specific to this map, like the position, because there's like that little nook you can build a pylon in. And the reason why you build a pylon is it gives you free vision. So if the Zerg wants to put like a queen or a spine on top, the pylon will give you vision. And yes, the Zerg can kill the pylon and then the cannons, but by then you're going to have a stalker. You know, you can spot with probes. You can just start another pylon. And it's just kind of like a little vision pylon to help you out. From here on out, you saw that back at home, I'm taking the gas. The moment you see that the cannon rush has succeeded, not necessarily that the cannons are finished, but you're like, okay, well, the Zerg can't do much about it. You want to start transitioning and start mining gas and start making these cyber cores. So I'm going to send my probe to the natural, and you're going to do a full wall on the natural. Now, I've seen some people ask, like, why full wall? You know, like, why don't you just leave one spot? The simple answer is there's no need. You're supposed to kill the Zerg with this while you're on one base. The only reason why you're walling off on the natural, it's like sometimes you get in these awkward games where it's like you did so much damage, but you can't quite kill them. So you just take a natural base because, well, you're fully walled off on your natural, so there's no threat from the Zerg. Also, doing a full wall off prevents any kind of Baneling busts. That's what I used to do when I would play Zerg and they don't fully wall off. They leave like a spot for a Stalker or a Zealot. You just Baneling bust through that and you can still win the game. But if you wall off with Gateway, Forge, and Cybercore, there's no possible way for Zerg to Baneling bust. And if they go for something like Roaches or Ravagers, they're very slow and you're going to have time to react. If you're, you know, Cannon Rush, this whole contain kind of gets broken. Now, this AI is being annoying. So let's make the cyber core. Gonna complete the wall off. Gonna make the second gas as well. Cannons finish. And if the Zerg puts queen here, you just give it a little bit of vision with the probes. If he attacks the probes, you can micro them back. And that's pretty much it. Now, one good thing you can also do is if you succeed the cannon rush very early on, like you see it's going to work, you can take the Zerg gas as well. This limits the Zerg quite a bit. So right now, if this was a normal game, this is kind of how the game would look like with Zerg taking the double gas, because the most common response to this is I'm going to grab double gas and then go Ravagers and just shoot Biles and try to break that way. So if you take one of the gases from the Zerg, after you've placed your cannons, you kind of limit him. He can't really go Ravagers. He needs to like go maybe a Nidus, but it's going to be a little bit delayed, or he can go just Mass Sling, which is not as great. So that's something to consider if you can grab it. Now, my Cybercore is about to finish, and the next phase of this begins. Start your Robo. Oops, rip probe. Do not lose your probes like that. I just demonstrated how to not play. And with the next 50 gas, what you want to do is start chrono boosting a Stalker. Just kind of like a little help before your Immortals arrive. It's going to give you a little bit potential for micro, maybe kill some Roaches and so on. Another thing you can do in this map is place a cannon in the corner, which is also something that's quite annoying for the Zerg. Obviously, you would place it much earlier. And it buys you quite a bit of time because then he needs to kill that cannon and then he needs to work on the pylon and then these two cannons. And when that all is done, you already have your Immortals out, so at that point it doesn't matter. Only use one Chrono Boost on the first Stalker and then use all your Chrono Boost on the Immortals. As the Immortal is coming out, you're going to have your Stalker, so if he's attacking your shield batteries, you can micro a little bit back and forth. And I usually like to stay on 2 Stalkers, which I've seen has to as well. And after that, all the money you have, you want to be spending on shield batteries, mostly. Maybe add like a 1 cannon, and just keep making Immortals. One thing to note, make sure that your shield batteries are spread. Don't put your shield batteries like this. Because if he puts Biles here, he's going to kill both of the shield batteries. So that's something to be very, very careful to not do. From this point on, pressure the Zerg. Constantly make sure you're attacking something. After the second Immortal is out, get a War Prism. You need a prism to be able to juggle your immortals if they get in trouble or they get surrounded. And from here on out, make sure you're in range of shield batteries. And once you get that war prism, you can kind of be more, you know, edgy with your play, I guess. Like run in a little bit. Because then you can have that like a save me button. You click it and you're out of there. Again, this is the best map for this. Because these cannons are so close to the base. And you're kind of right into his base. On most other maps, you will be building shield batteries like here. And then there will be, you know, bigger range to attack the hatchery. Because around here, you actually lose the access to your shield batteries. So you kind of have to poke from this side, go in a little bit, then juggle your immortals backwards. And keep doing that until you kind of get a very high immortal count. And the Zerg simply dies because, you know, making a tier 2 unit immortal on, well, Zerg is on one base is very good for you. Now, a couple of things to note. The responses that you will see very, very often are next. Number one, Zerg will not cancel the hatchery, and he will just try to hold it. That is probably the best for you, in my opinion, because if you cannon rush well, if you position your pylons well, you will always succeed with the cannon rush. And if if he goes for the cannons, just wall them off with a gateway, with a pylon, and prevent the Zerg from getting to them. So I think saving the hatchery is probably the worst thing Zerg can do. Some Zergs wait till the end, and then they cancel the hatchery. Do not cancel these two cannons. You still need them to support the rest of this. One thing that is super important, probably the most important thing, is you need to know what the Zerg is doing. What is his response? So, one of the scariest things for me when I was playing this yesterday all day is when the Zerg cancels the hatchery, you need to follow the drone. So remember, you have two probes here. The first one goes after the pylon. The second one goes after you put down a forge. If he cancels the hatchery, make sure to put one probe on the drone and just follow it, because he has two options. He can either try to make a proxy hatch like here and then make roaches and just attack you, kind of like base trade, I guess. Just build up spines in his base and just go for your mineral line. Or he can expand somewhere else. He can expand like here or here and kind of still have two bases, even though he's technically on one base. Whatever decision he goes for, you need to follow that drone. You need to see where the drone is going and react accordingly. Now, from what Has did, and also I got the same feeling from my own experience, if the Zerg decides to expand like here, just ignore it. He will not have time to build up a huge economy. Like, he's going to need to build units. So don't bother with it. I've seen some people try to cannon rush them. It's not a good idea, because you can build a pylon and like two cannons, but then he just cancels, and that just delays your immortal push, which you cannot afford. So if the Zerg is spent somewhere else, leave it be. Don't cannon rush it. Your whole point of this cannon rush is so you can set up this robo and then chunk out immortals and then kill the Zerg. If the Zerg proxies a hatchery here in an attempt to attack you, again, you will have your probe on the drone, you will see it happen, and then you can just chrono boost the Zealot, chrono boost or make two stalkers that you would normally make, and you can pretty much deal with the hatchery. And if roaches come out one by one, again, you have two stalkers who should be able to deal with it, and the Zerg will be investing into units here and have even less units back at home. And you don't really invest anything to defend it, because you would make the two stalkers anyway. I guess you make the Zealot like an extra 100 minerals, but considering he's spending 300 plus a drone plus roaches in that aggression, simply not worth for the Zerg. If at any point you see Zerglings run out of your base, run out of here, and try to go for the counterattack, just build a cannon or two. Play it safe. Maybe make a sentry if you have too much gas. But I've never really lost to like masslings running by, because again, baneling busting this is super hard. And if you have a cannon or two, Zerglings, pure Zergling breaking through this is not going to work. Because another thing to remember is, if he tries to go for this counter aggression, he has even less units here, so you should be able to kill the Zerg faster. Last thing. if you do a lot of damage, you keep trading back and forth, you're floating minerals, just expand to your natural. But again, you should always just be building shield batteries, cannons, spend all the minerals into that. But sometimes the Zerg kind of deflects this, I guess it's not even a cannon rush, I don't even know what to call it, immortal skill battery rush, I don't know. But let's say at one point he kind of defends it and you escape with 2 immortals and a prism. One of the best things that I've seen Haz do, and also that I've tried in my own games, is expand and follow it up with 2 Stargates. The reason why you don't go 1, you just go straight up to 2, is because first it gives you an option to go Void Rays if he counterattacks with Roach Ravager. You build 2 Void Rays and that's it, he loses all the roaches. If he goes for Mass Sling and he breaks your Contain somehow, you can just build Oracles or Void Rays. And if he just breaks it and then tries to expand, well, you're just going to Mass Phoenix and you can control the map for so long while you build up your economy. You can transition to Charge Lot Immortal behind it with some Forge upgrades, you know, Templar Archives and so on. But Stargate is always the best option because it will give you that map control and it will limit the Zerg and kind of force the Zerg stay in your side of the map. And because the Zerg has been on one base for so long, you will be in much better position. Now, again, if he expands like here and you go Stargate, you can literally walk 4 Void Rays to this spot and just kill his base because he cannot have like 5 queens there, considering his main base is here and that base would be all the way here. That's pretty much it. Sometimes I also like to add Robobane Disruptors. If you feel like you can't break him and he can't break you, you can add a Robobane back at your main base and just start making Disruptors, which are very good, especially against Ravagers. But that's it. Make sure to not overextend. Always pressure with these units. Use the War Prism to kind of juggle them back. And that's it. One small tip. When you juggle the units, if they're attacking, you never click on the units and then into Prism. Always click the War Prism, click on what unit you want to pick up, and then never press drop and then on the ground. This will cause the War Prism to move too much. What you want to do to drop the unit instantly is just click D, the hotkey for drop, and then just on the War Prism. So no matter where the Prism is, it will drop instantly while moving. So you can kind of juggle really quickly instead of, you know, picking them up and then like clicking here. Now, that's it for the guide itself. I'm going to show you guys some of the kind of positions for cannons on the other maps. You can check those out. But, yeah, let's just jump into it. Okay, so this is one of the ways to do this cannon rush on this map. You can place a pylon here, but the pylon is very exposed in itself. And then if the Zerg tries to, you know, come to prevent your probe from placing more pylons, you can wall off like this, build your cannon here. The problem with this is this pylon is super exposed. You can do something like this, where he can reach this cannon, but it's only from one side, so it's not as effective. But in my opinion, this side is much better to do this in, where you build your pylon like this. If the Zerg starts coming over, you wall off this way, and then you build a cannon right here in the middle. So this map is a little bit different. I guess you have 2 options. I'm not sure which one is better. I guess this one is safer over here. You put your cannon, and you can even like place another cannon, assuming these buildings didn't exist. You can place another cannon here to start working on this hatchery. There's some other variations where you can put your pylon here, so not many probes can attack it. You can put your second pylon here, and then your cannon here, or something like that. You can play around with the spots. Honestly, on this map, the only place I did cannon rush is this one, because I feel it's super safe. Okay, we're here on Acid Plant. Now, there is 2 positions that I've seen people put cannons here. One cannon position is like here, but I don't really like it too much because you're not close to the hatchery, so I would not suggest that. This is a position that I think is the best. You put a cannon pylon here. If you notice the Zerg trying to pull drones, you make another pylon here. you make another pylon here, and there you go. Voila! You make the cannon after. You have your second probe. So in case the Zerg has drones and you don't want to cancel the pylons, you can get this probe out. Well, that's fine because you have the second one. You can build another cannon here. And that kind of sets you up very nicely for the Immortals after. You can build like a Robo Bay on this side, or Robo Facility, sorry. And then you start your skill batteries around this area and you push into the main base. So you can see this map is not as great for this as Lost and Found. Lost and Found is the perfect map because again the cannons would be in this position on Lost and Found and kind of like already pushing into the Zerg. This is a little bit farther away, but still fine to do the rush in. Okay, so on Darkness Sanctuary, this is the way you cannon rush. You want to put your first pylon kind of between the natural gas and the minerals, and again, you wait here. If you see the Zerg pulling drones, make a pylon here, and then you can make another pylon on this side to prevent Zerg from going in. This leaves you enough space to actually make two cannons. So you pop one here, one here. Let's say the Zerg is trying to kill this pylon. Even if he gets it, only actually one drone will be able to attack this, so it doesn't matter even if he breaks the cannon rush or not. After that, what you can do is you can place another cannon here, and you can put a pylon up on the high ground for the vision, which is what we talked about earlier, kind of like Lost and Found. I've showed you guys on Asset Plan how to do the cannons, but on that map you can't really place the pylon on the low ground because the ramp is farther away. But on maps like these, where you can cannon rush behind the mineral line on the natural and kind of be very close to the main base, you do want to build a pylon here because you can see this roach, you can't do much about it, and your probe can't really go up the ramp because of the queen. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. This is a little bit of a different guide. It's I mean, it's a cannon rush guide, so there's a lot of weird things about it. There's a lot of improvising, which you will see when you play your own games. And the more you play it, the more you will kind of learn about it, how to do it, how to execute it, how to react in certain situations. But I hope you guys enjoyed the guide. Check out Print F and Turkey Dano and Has. Those are the, in my opinion, the master cannon rushers, masters of cannon rushing, that is. So you can check their streams, and I'm not sure if they made guides for this as well, but check them out. They know how to cannon rush, they know what they're doing, and I think Print F is the first person that started this. I am not 100% sure, but Has is definitely the person who kind of brought it to the big stage against pro gamers. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment what kind of guide you would like to see next for Protoss. Would you like to see a disgusting cheese against Terran? Would you like to see a macro build against Terran, against Protoss, against Zerg? Let me know in the comments below. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great day today. And I hope you go out there on the ladder and cannon rush every Zerg there is. Make as many skill batteries as you can. Make those Immortals. And let's make some Zergs cry. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and make sure to check out one of my previous videos. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Have a very nice day, and I'll see you guys next time.